Good day, everybody. I'm so glad that you could join me. Today, we are actually going to speak to Nicole. She's from BizLife, and they are a professional medical accounts administration and practice management company. I can't wait to speak to her, and I hope that you're looking forward to it. In the meantime, please remember to get your copy of my book. It's called Your Journey Begins Now. Start and market your own successful counseling and coaching private practice in South Africa. I know that it's a mouthful, but it's so worth it. I will post the link down at the bottom. So please click on it. It is available on Takealot as well as Amazon. I'll see you just now. Okay, everybody, I'm so glad that you're all joining us. I would love to introduce you to Nicole Marescia from BizLife. They are a professional medical accounts administration and practice management company. And Nicole is going to tell us more about what they do and how they can actually make your life easy in running your private practice. Now, Nicole, if you could just give me, I know that you work with Luke. He's your partner in BizLife. Could you just tell us a bit more about your company and how you got it started? And just where did you see the gap in the market that your company fills now?
Great. Thanks very much for having me. So Luke and I are actually related. He's my brother-in-law, and we worked together at another company that does the same thing that we do many years ago. And then we sort of strayed away from, I left and he stayed. And we came back together in 2016 and decided that we should try and give it a go and start our own company. We didn't see a gap in the market necessarily for the same kind of company, but what we did notice was that there was a lot of large corporations or large bureaus where the personal sort of touch was lost. And we wanted to emphasize that with our business, where we have a very personalized approach to our clients. And offer a lot of services that the bigger bureaus may not necessarily offer. So we started in 2016, and that's how it started.
Okay, well, that sounds excellent. So you've been going on for quite a while, and it sounds like it's going quite well. And you've got all your processes in line for what's the counsellors and psychologists and even psychiatrists actually need from you.
Absolutely.
Just tell me, in short, what do you offer?
Okay, so we offer everything from A to Z when it comes to a person's practice. We capture all their accounts on the system, we bill their accounts, we submit their accounts to the medical aid. We contact the patient should there be any shortfall on their account or if it's rejected for whatever reason. We reconcile their payments. We send them reports, turnover reports, age analysis, and we do all the credit control as well. So it's very comprehensive. It's everything that you need for your practice to run efficiently and to have a steady and consistent stream of income. Okay. Is basically what it
okay.
Down to, yeah.
Wow, that sounds very comprehensive. How often do you send these reports to the counsellors?
So we have a number of reports that get sent regularly. The one is called a billing report, and that's after every batch of work that we've received from the practitioner, we send a billing report so that they can see that all the patients are on there with all the rates and what that batch amount comes to. Then at the end of the month, we send a receipts report. So that's the report of all the receipts that we've received from the medical aid or from the patients for that month. And an age analysis so that they can see what is sitting on current 30, 60, 90 days and onwards. and we send a turnover report so that they can compare their turnover with their cash flow and see where their practice is sitting in terms of finances, what in comparison what their turnover is to their cash flow. And then there's various other reports as well that we can generate. It just depends on what the practitioner requires. Tax reports, VAT reports. If they've got locums working for them, we send them a locum report. So there's various other reports that we can send, but those ones that I've mentioned are the basic ones that get sent.
Okay, so you basically panel beat it to what the counsellor or the psychiatrist will actually need.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, all those reports I've mentioned, those get sent to every single client because those are necessary for the practitioner to know what's happening in their practice. But should they require any additional reports, it is available from the software that we use.
Okay. Talking about software, is there extra software that the counsellors, psychiatrists, psychologists need to load onto their computers that works and talks with your system?
No, they do have an option to have that software on their system as well, but generally we just have it on our system. We have a bureau profile with the software company, and all our clients are on there. Some of our clients do make use of it to either do clinical notes or use the diary or upload patient information, but majority of them don't make use of it. We just do everything for them, but there is an option for them to be able to access it if they wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with your own studies that you've studied clinical psychology,
Yes.
you know that confidentiality is very big. And that is something that GPs, counselors, coaches, whoever finds extremely important. That has to be, proper confidential. How does your system protect the confidentiality of the clients and even of the practitioners?
So when it comes to clinical notes, we don't really deal with that side of the practice. We deal mainly with the medical aid submission of the information and getting the money in, basically. That's what we deal with.
Okay. All right.
There are times, like with our clients that are psychologists that are with us at the moment, we do sometimes receive motivation letters to send to the medical aids if we need to. But it's not like we sit here and read them. We really focus more on just getting the account to the medical aid or getting whatever to the medical aid that's necessary to get the account paid. With the POPI Act coming into effect last year, we did have to do some adjustments to our systems to make sure that we were compliant in that regard. So all the information that's stored on the software is backed up every night at 11 o'clock. It's backed up onto the software server. So if anything crashes, all that information is backed up. We also have our own server that's also in the cloud, so nobody can have access to that except for myself, Luke, and our staff. On the software itself as well, you have to log in with a username and a password. Not anybody can just come and open the software and go in and do whatever they want. You have to log in with your username and your password. And obviously we all have our individual username and passwords to get in. So those are just some of the ways that we can protect the information. Other than that, we are a third party. So, we do have access to patient information. And that's something that clients need to inform their patients about, that we are a third party, we are involved in the whole process. And, we're really not interested in the clinical notes necessarily or what that patient is going through. We are very much focused on the administration of it. We are privy sometimes to information, but there's no reason for anyone to feel like we're going to mismanage that information.
Yes. Okay. So that basically also says that your firewall and your security system is in place, but the counsellor itself also have to take that responsibility to keep the information and the login details and everything confidential and not share it with anybody.
Yes. Some of our clients prefer to send us their work on like Microsoft Teams. We have a Microsoft Teams set up, so you can just upload your work there and we get it from there, and we upload the reports there as well, so that no information is exchanged via email. That's one way. And yeah, other ways are Dropboxes, things like that, because some of our clients are concerned about data being exchanged through emails, because emails are very vulnerable and unpredictable, and information can get lost in the system along the way. So that's another way that could protect that information, is to just upload it on a cloud platform instead of sending it via email. But yeah, it's definitely a joint venture, because the practitioner also needs to take their own system into consideration. They have to be POPI compliant too in their own right. So yes, it's definitely a joint sort of team effort.
Okay. All right. Now, when a practitioner reaches out to you, what do they have to have in hand to make the process flow easier to get you guys to do the administration?
So it does depend very much on whether that practice is registered already. If it's registered with the Health Professionals Council and with the Board of Healthcare Funders, basically all we need is a practice number, proof of banking, VAT number if they're registered, basically just all their practice information, practice letterhead, things like that. But if the practice is not registered, we do assist them with registering them with the medical aids. They will, if they're not registered, they need to register obviously at the Health Professionals Council to get their practice number. But we assist with the medical aid side in submitting all their banking details to the medical aids, because it is a nightmare. So we assist with that. But otherwise, all we need is just their practice information, practice number, council number, things like that.
Yes. Okay. Now, I think you've basically covered all the little questions that I had written down. Is there anything else that you want to say to the practitioners watching of how you can help them, and what makes you different from any other competition out there, except for the personal touch, which is I absolutely love hearing about?
We've got a lot of years of experience, Luke and I. We've been in the industry now for we've got over 20 years experience. Luke is a billing specialist. He's amazing. He knows the wealth of knowledge about billing rules and regulations, from the Council of Medical Schemes to HPCSA, is phenomenal. So he has a lot of experience with billing. And I think just the general way we do the administration, we have a very streamlined approach, very open, very transparent. You're not a number with us. We know you, we know your family, we know your background. And, we pride ourselves on our professionalism and our efficiency. Sometimes I'm a little bit overly efficient, but it's in this industry, you have to be, unfortunately, because the practitioner's income is in our hands, and there's a lot of responsibility and accountability that comes with that. So you have to be efficient.
Sorry, just one quick question that just popped into my mind. The turnover between the medical aid and actually paying out, if there's a delay, do you guys also follow up with a medical aid to make that more streamlined?
Absolutely, yeah. Follow up all the time. So I'll take you through our process very quickly, because it does become a bit involved, but just in general, we capture the account, we bill it, we submit it. We then have a lady who follows up on the medical aid. If there's any rejection or query on it, she handles it. If it's escalated, it comes to me and I deal with it. But we also do PMBs. You know, there's a lot of PMBs, especially with psychology and psychiatry. There's a lot of PMBs involved. So we do those applications, we follow up on those applications. But yes, yeah, if there's a problem with the medical aid, definitely we follow up on that as well.
Okay. No, that is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. And just lastly, how can the practitioners get hold of you?
They can either email me or call me. But before you go, I just did make a few notes of my own, just to
by all means, the stage is yours.
especially for practitioners that are just starting their practice. I feel like there's a few things that they need to be aware of, because sometimes they're not aware of those things and then they get into practice and it's like a big shock. And the one thing is the rates. The practitioners need to consider their rates. They need to consider that if you're charging above a certain rate, there's certain scheme rules with medical aids where they either pay the member directly or they don't cover it in full, things like that. So rates is one thing that they need to really consider. And obviously, if anybody does join us, we will gladly give them advice on that. The other thing was patient liabilities. You know, with any practice, there's going to be patient liabilities where it gets rejected by the medical aid and the patient needs to pay. And that results, unfortunately, in bad debt. And, you know, a lot of the times when people start practices, they want this flowing sort of where everybody's just going to pay on time and everything's going to be great. But I have to bring to their attention that there is going to be bad debt, that you will either have to hand over to lawyers or write off as bad debt. That's the one other thing. And then just your ethics, you know, especially in psychology and psychiatry, a lot of things can go wrong if you don't have your ethics in place. So that would be my last word of advice. Yeah.
Well, that is absolutely wonderful. I think a lot of that actually gets covered in the therapy agreement that the clients, when they initially comes for the first session of therapy, normally a therapy agreement gets given to the clients so that they know what is expected, what can they expect, and how the fee structure also works.
Yes, very important.
And in there, it's the confidentiality, and you know, it should be outlined for the clients to understand. So that's also another thing that the practitioners should take very seriously.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you want to give us your website address and your email address, and if a telephone number, if you've got one?
Yes, sure. So the website is www.bizlife.co.za, and my email is nicole@bizlife.co.za, and my number is 083-517-7085.
Okay, what I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to post it underneath this video so that everybody can just click on it or view it straight there, if that's all right with you. Yes, I think it's just going to be so much easier for them to get hold of you.
Yes, absolutely.
I would love to say thank you to you and for your time and for all the information. Goodness me, it is wonderful that there's people like you out there that's trying to make a difference and actually make a difference in the practitioners' lives, of making it easier, because the administration tends to take over if you don't keep your finger on the pulse.
Exactly. And the practitioners didn't study to do administration. They studied so that they could treat. So we take the burden off of them so that they're able to just go and treat the patients. Yeah.
Especially, you know, and I have to say, I admit it, I'm not very good with figures. I know what is a plus and minus, you know, times and divide. But, you know, when it comes to things of the mind, I understand that. But when it comes to figures, I'd rather give it to my husband to explain it to me. It's so much easier.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm sure that we'll speak to you again, and hopefully clients will get in touch with you.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.